If you could ask one question maybe to help you learn, what would that question be?
I guess what is your primary point you want to hit on your religion?
Yeah,
Like,
absolutely.
when it comes to God and Muhammad,
Yeah.
I don't know any of this.
Sweet. All right, I'm going to turn it back to you guys with another question. So the question I like to ask people is, do you know what the word Islam even means?
No.
No. Do you want to take a guess?
I sit there and I say Islamic. See how I just added a couple letters to it?
Ooh.
Because I know, it's impressive. I have no idea.
No worries. So I'll give it to you guys. There's two root words to Islam. It's aslama and salam. So the second word, salam, means peace.
Yeah, I know that.
So that's why you hear a lot of people always say salam alaikum. There you go. Peace be upon you. That was a student of the game. Student of the game.
He's learned more than I have in my 20 years. He's winning.
And then aslama means submitting one's will. Right? So the question is, who are we submitting our will to? To God, right? So you submit your will to God to achieve that peace. So for Muslims, if you ask us what is our entire focus, it's establishing that relationship with the Creator directly. No one can intervene for you. There's no one that you have to go to. No amount of money you could pay. No amount of whatever. Right? I agree. It's fully focused on that relationship with the Creator to achieve that peace. So when things are going well, you'll always hear a Muslim say Alhamdulillah. And when things are going bad, they'll say Alhamdulillah as well. Right? Because the idea is Islam is a middle path. That no matter what you're going through in life, you always stay calm and humble, knowing that there's a Creator that you're serving. And that's the person that we focus on. So you asked about Muhammad as well. Yeah. Right? So we believe that Muhammad didn't come with anything new that wasn't heard before.
So let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
The God is the God of any other religion, of the Christianity religion, that's still the same God.
Yes.
That you guys also...
Absolutely.
He's the creator of... Gotcha. Okay.
So the thing that we say is it's the same Creator that Moses prayed to when he was in Mount Sinai. It was the same Creator that Jesus called upon to take the cup away from me when he was in the Garden of Gethsemane. And the same Creator Abraham prayed to when people or his own family were persecuting him for telling people to stop worshiping idols. The same exact Creator. We believe that the Creator is beyond the universe, meaning it's not a man, not an animal, none of those things. It's eternal. It's all-powerful, all-knowing. So those sorts of limitations of knowledge, space, time, etc., can only be found within the universe. So we believe God operates outside of it. Therefore, we have to strive for that relationship with God directly. So
and I feel like that should be the focus on any religion.
Yes.
So then let me ask you this question. Where then is the disconnect of, say, Islam and, say, Christianity?
Very good question.
Because I know you have Christianity with Jesus Christ and things like that.
Yes.
It seems like you guys still believe that there is a Jesus.
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, then where's the disconnect?
So I'll start with Jesus, right? Because I think that's where the disconnect lies. We as Muslims we believe that Jesus is not only a prophet, but we believe he's the Messiah. So Jews don't believe that Jesus was a Messiah or the prophet, but we do. The difference that usually comes up between Muslims' view of Jesus and a Christian's view is some Christians believe that Jesus is God, or he's part of this Trinity, right? That's part of God, right?
Yes.
Right. So our view is that we can't put God into man, so we don't equate them as the same thing. So the difference that I would say that happens, it starts right there with the role of Jesus. But everything else is the same, right? Jesus came and preached when the two Pharisees asked him, what's the greatest commandment of them all? And he says, worship the one God with all your mind, with all your heart. So to us, that's what Islam is about too. Yeah. So there's more similarities than our differences, but the differences are profound where we have to focus on them, right? That's why a lot of people try to always be like, oh, you're a Muslim, you don't believe in Jesus. That's not true. Yeah. We love Jesus. We follow the same law that he upheld.
So then explain that Muhammad. How does that, I'm guessing he's a prophet, just like Jesus was a prophet, correct?
Yes.
So you have Jesus as a prophet of God, but then you have Muhammad also as a prophet. Are there more that you believe in?
Yes.
Or is it just
No,
So it's
that's
more
good.
than two. There's multiple prophets.
Abraham's a prophet of God. Moses is a prophet of God. Noah's a prophet of God. All of them.
So I got you. So what you're saying is these were all these men.
Mm-hmm.
These were tools.
These were messengers
of the Creator.
That's it. And what God says in like the old scriptures as well as in the Quran is that He sends those messengers to us people and to a place when they need it. So when Moses came, look at the type of people that they were, their environment, their history. That's why Moses was sent. Then when Jesus came, a lot of people started leaving the message of the Mosaic law, etc. So Jesus came with the same message of, hey, we need to follow certain laws, and He came with a new law. So then the Prophet Muhammad came as well at a time when there was high corruption. People were worshiping idols. People were focusing on like creating harm between communities. That's when the Prophet Muhammad came with the same exact message as Abraham, Moses, and Jesus, which is worship one God and be united in the fact that you have that relationship with the Creator. And so the Prophet Muhammad actually says in one of the authentic narrations at the time that he was dying, he says, there's no superiority in an Arab over a non-Arab, or the white man over the black man, and vice versa. And he says that you focus on these sorts of differences, not because God made you different because you're supposed to hate each other for it, because you can get to know one another.
Yeah.
And so that's what we focus on.
I get it. So it seems like when it comes to Christianity, they take Jesus and they listen to what He says, and he says, no one goes to the Father but through me.
Yes.
You guys say, no, that's untrue. There's just one God only.
I agree with that statement, though.
Right?
But I believe that statement is true. Right? So when we look at that statement, when Jesus says the only way to the Father is through me, I believe that is true for Jesus. And when Moses was the prophet, it was true for him. And it was the same thing for Abraham. Because when you reflect upon what that means is, hey, look, if you want to achieve salvation, the only way for you to be able to do so is following the message that I'm bringing. Right? So through me. And what is it that Jesus was preaching? Doing good works, treating your neighbors with all your love.
Neighbor, all
right?
That stuff.
So, and Jesus came in and reinforced those exact teachings. And if you go and compare that exact message, the Prophet Muhammad, as Muslims, we embrace the Prophet Muhammad as our prophet because he came with the same exact message. He came and taught us how to have the etiquette with our neighbors, how to build communities, how to lead like relationships with other diverse communities. That's why for us we follow his message because we live during his time period, right? But we don't deny that Jesus was a prophet, nor that his message was true.
Yeah, which again, like you said, that's why it's good to talk to people because you have no idea.
There you go.
That all this you just
it's a chapter dedicated to his mother.
Yes.
Yeah, but you kind of just you sit there like me, probably like Dom, you know, because he said that's what he believes.
Well, Dom's got a point though. He said "Salam alaikum," so he knows.
Yeah, he knows. He knows. But like, there's a lot that I won't understand even within my own religion when it comes to. I'm a born again Christian, right?
Yeah.
So that's what I believe. But then you also have the Catholic faith, which I don't agree with a lot of the stuff the Catholic faith.
Yeah.
Right? And I might just sit there and say because when it comes to that, they're so big with being ornate and kissing the Bible and doing all this stuff and telling me that I have to go to a priest and tell him my sins when the priest is on the same exact level I'm at.
I 100% agree with you.
But then, like when it comes to you guys, you know, Muslim or Islam and things like that. For me, again, not knowing anything, you kind of just sit there and you say, "Oh well, they don't believe in Jesus, they don't believe in this stuff."
Yeah.
So it's good to educate, you know, of your guys' beliefs and you
take
know,
whatever you'd like to. You're more Can I hand you some? So I'll give you guys these 4 basic stuff here. So the reason I have this is, you know, if you have people who want to learn about the basics of Islam, and you had questions about our views of Jesus and Muhammad, right?
Awesome.
So these are 2 perfect ones for you to read, and
right, I feel like that's where we fall short.
Do it.
We're in this bubble.
Yes.
Right? We have no idea what's going on any other place. So then all of a sudden, when this stuff comes about, they're like, "Oh my God."
Yeah.
You know, I think it's good to be because here's the thing: if a Christian's going to sit there and say, "I'm not going to listen to you guys," then they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing because their whole thing is love and understanding and all that stuff. So, like I said, if this is important to you, I'll listen. I'll get knowledge.
And look,
kind of move on.
And if you guys ever have questions and things like that, we also have a hotline that's on there too. You can call at any time.
Where are you guys out of?
So we're actually locally here in New Jersey. This is where we're headquartered out of in Somerset, New Jersey. Yes. but we do have a national presence. So our hotline is actually the largest hotline for people to come learn about America. And we actually started it right before 9/11. So it's like kind of like a weird coincidence. So yeah, we've been doing this for a while now. I've been personally doing it. I used to actually go to Boston College, so I was studying in the Jesuit school, learning about like Christian theology and stuff like that. But at the time, I wasn't really someone that believed in God. And so afterwards, I went to church and everything. But then I started studying more and came to Islam. So for me, it's like that's why knowledge is important, because I think it is important to learn about.
Well, that's another good thing is you kind of went and did your own searching.
Yes.
Instead of just saying, all right, well, I'm going to tell you something. You go, all right, well, okay.
I can tell you, Mike, you're someone that's the same way. Like the way that you are, you're really inquisitive and you got a bright personality. So that means that you like to learn and engage with a bunch of different people. So we appreciate you, man. Thank you guys so much.
It was a pleasure talking to you guys. All right.
Awesome.